Hello everyone, messed up sleep schedule calamity here, and today we're going to talk about Arataki Itto. Now, for starters, I'm not even on my own account. I had to borrow a friend's account here, because I don't have him myself, so in order to make this video, I needed to borrow a friend who actually has him, and has him built. So thank you, Edmar, for letting me borrow your account to make this video. That being said, we're going to go over everything you need to know about Arataki Itto, his weapons, his artifacts, his talents, his constellations, his gameplay, how he looks like in combat, everything. And this video is supposed to help new players decide whether or not he's worth spending their Primo Gems or not. Now, before we start, I always try to preface these videos by saying that if you like Arataki Itto just because of his personality, or you try him out in the character trial and you absolutely love his playstyle, go for it. This is just a video for people that are kind of on the fence, not really sure how this character works, and want to see more of his gameplay before deciding. With that being said, let's start with the talents. Well, we'll talk about a little bit about him first, and then we'll move on into the talents that you see here. So Arataki Itto is a main DPS Geo character. He is... It depends how you want to look at this, but he's very easy to build. Like, he really only has one good artifact set. I suppose you could do there's a second one, which we'll talk about later, but really one artifact set, and he only really works in one sort of team, which is mainly a Geo team, and that's pretty much it. Like, there's not a lot of variability, is that the word I'm looking for, when it comes to Arataki Itto. Like, he just has one thing that works for just him, and that's pretty much it. That might be a good thing for some of y'all, since maybe you don't like to build characters in all these different ways, and that's fine. He's not complicated at all when it comes to team building and stuff like that. It's up to you to decide what kind of character you want. That being said, let's actually take a look at his talents, and we'll go on from there. So we have his normal attack talent, which actually has, you know, some extra bit of stuff going on here than your usual attack talents, but let's take a look. So he will gain, while he's doing his combo, he will gain something called superlative super strength. Really long name. Basically, he gains these stacks where you'll see it on the actual character when I do a combat demonstration. After he gains the maximum of these stacks, which is 5, his charge attacks do a special combo and do a lot more damage than normal. Arataki Itto also has a really cool mechanic when it comes to his normal attacks. This is something Yoimiya wishes she had, but basically his combo does not reset after you sprint or use his skill, which is really, really nice. I mean, you can take the time to actually dodge moves left and right as him and not lose your damage, as the higher damage multipliers are always at the end of a combo, right? And then we have his charge attack here, which if you don't have any of his stacks, you are going to get the normal charge attack. That's not what you want to do with Arataki Itto. The main big beefy damage is when you actually have his super strength stacks. I'm just going to call them super strength stacks for short. They'll do a lot more damage, and you'll see there's a difference between the two. And then the plunging attack is actually just, you know, a normal plunging attack stuff there. And if you look at the skill attributes, this is why that him taking the time to dodge attacks is actually fine, because he'll keep continuing his combo, and as you can see on the 4th hit, it has a 200% multiplier compared to the first 2. Whereas other characters, they would have to redo their whole combo again. And then you can see the Arataki Kesagiri, I hope I said that right, the slashes, and then the final slash. And then the Sachimanji slash. These are the 2 different charge attack things that can happen. And then the plunge damage is just pretty normal. And this is definitely his best talent that you need to upgrade the most. This is how he does his damage. Basically, is from his normal attacks. And his burst helps him buffs his normal attacks, basically. Moving on to his elemental skill, it's the Masatsu Zetsugi. Oh, this is a very long name. I'm just gonna say it's his cow. Okay, he throws a cow, or it's a bull. He throws this bull at his opponents. It actually does a lot of damage. Don't underestimate it. And it has a bunch of effects, and it also gives him a stack of his the super strength stack. So here's the list of things that it does. It will taunt nearby opponents. It does damage based, or it has HP based off of Arataki Itto's max HP. You don't really have to build him HP wise for this. Like, it's fine. When the cow takes damage or the Ushi takes damage, you also get another stack of super strength, and then once it reaches 0 HP, it'll be gone. So it's a nice way to get extra stacks and do a bit of damage. You can see it only lasts for 6 seconds. It's not that long, but it does have a really high skill multiplier. So it does do some serious damage. And then if you hold it, you can adjust where you're throwing it. And it does count as a Geo construct, so keep that in mind. And then finally, we have his burst, which does a bunch of things. The first thing it does is that it converts all of his damage to Geo damage. So this means, and it can't be overridden, so this means you can actually use Arataki Itto with a Bennett C6. So if you're worried about that interaction, if you have a C6 Bennett, you can still use Arataki Itto with him. The second thing is that he'll get more attack speed and an attack boost based off his defense. And then he'll also get more stacks from more super strength stacks from his combo. And finally, the last effect for his burst is actually kind of a debuff. It decreases Itto's elemental and physical resistance by 20%. So this means he will actually take increased damage in sort of like exchange for all these buffs you're getting. So to counteract this, it's usually advised to bring a shield, you know, like Zhongli, just to, you know, basically ignore this downside since you'll have a super beefy shield. But yeah, and then if you use his burst and then swap off, he will instantly lose this buff he's getting from his burst. So you can see here, he does get an attack bonus, which is based off his defense. A small attack speed bonus, but it's nice to have. And it lasts for 11 seconds. It has a cooldown of 18, and it costs about 70 energy, or costs 70 energy. So you're gonna want, you know, a decent amount of energy recharge for your Arataki Itto. And that covers his active talents. Let's take a quick look at his passive talents. When Arataki Itto uses consecutive Arataki Kesagiri, he obtains the following effects. Each slash increases the attack speed of the next one by 10%. Max attack speed increases 30%, increases his resistance to interruption. So basically, when you save up those super strength stacks and you unleash your charge attack combo, it just gets faster and faster and he won't get interrupted, or least likely to get interrupted. And then the next one is Bloodline of the Crimson Oni, which straight up increases his charge attack damage by 35% of his defense. Yet another reason to build him for defense. And then his passive talent helps for teapot mains out there. He'll give you a chance to get another log from when you're harvesting wood. This does work with the gadget you get in Sumeru that automatically harvests trees. I believe just having him in the party, and then you use that gadget will grant you the chance to get additional logs. But next up, let's look at weapons, and you can already see he's using probably second best option, which is the Serpent Spine. Obviously, this is a battle pass weapon, so it might not be available to everybody, but it is a good weapon if you do happen to buy the battle pass. But obviously, his best weapon is going to be his signature one, which is the Redthorn Stonethresher. I think I said that right this time. It is a 5-star claymore that gives you crit damage as a substat, and basically it has a very simple weapon effect of just giving you more damage based off your defense. So we're already building Arataki Itto for defense here, and that weapon just gives you even more damage. So if you happen to get that weapon or have that weapon, obviously it's going to be great for Arataki Itto, as well as a bunch of other characters because it's a really good stat stick. Other weapons that could be good for him are the Skyward Pride, I suppose. If you don't have the battle pass, or if you're free to play and you happen to have this weapon instead, or you don't get his signature weapon, Skyward Pride is also good. Probably the best free to play option though, because this is craftable, is the Whiteblind claymore. That's one you can just craft. All right, moving on to his artifacts. His best artifact set is going to easily be the Husk of Opulent Dreams. It feels like it was clearly made for him, as well as Albedo. So we have the 2-piece effect, which gives you flat 30% more defense, which is great. The 4-piece effect looks like a long Yu-Gi-Oh card effect, but basically, while he's both on the field or off the field, he's going to gain these stacks that basically just give him more defense and Geo damage. So it's basically just more damage as you just play him. So that's all you really need to know here. For substats on his artifacts, you're gonna build him just like any other main DPS. For the most part, you're gonna want the crit rate, the crit damage. However, the third best substat for him is going to be defense percent. You're definitely gonna want to build defense percent on him. Flat defense is okay if you get it, and then after that, energy recharge. You do not want elemental mastery on him, obviously, because he's Geo, and that would be a complete waste. So try to get crit rate, crit damage, energy recharge, defense percent, all good stuff there. And then I guess the subsets that are just like okay are obviously like the flat attack percentage, and the flat defense. For the sands, you're gonna want main defense percent, or main stat is going to be defense percent. There, the goblet is going to be your geo damage. Wow, this is a really nice goblet. The geo damage goblet is going to be the main stat for the goblet here. And then depending on what weapon you're using, either crit rate, crit damage, circlet is going to be your best friend. Really nice substats on this one as well. Pretty much covers up his artifacts. Like I said, he doesn't have a lot of variability with his stuff. If you're looking for other artifacts you could use on him, I suppose the retracting Blide? I don't know how to say that one. I mean, that domain sucks, but I guess it is available to earlier players if you don't have the Husk domain open yet. But, you know, just get like a couple of artifact pieces in there. Don't spend too much time in there. Constellations. Arataki Itto is absolutely fine at C0. Okay, let's just get that out the way. He is absolutely fine, can do all the content in the game for the most part. Not a lot to say. We can quickly go over the constellations real fast, but so this one right here will give you 2 stacks of super strength when you use his burst, and then after 1 second, Itto will gain 1 stack of super strength for every 0.5 seconds for 1.5 seconds. That's a lot of wording, but basically after you use your burst, you get a bunch of stacks, so it's easy to do his charge attack combo faster. Not necessary, but it again, a lot of constellations are like, oh, it's nice to have, but you don't need it. And then C2, we have, after using his burst again, each party member whose element is Geo will decrease that skill's cooldown by 1.5 and restore 6 energy to Arataki Itto. The cooldown can be reduced up to 4.5 seconds this manner, and you can gain up to 18 energy. So this is actually a really good constellation for him. It will help reduce his energy recharge or energy cost. Not necessary, but again, nice to have. And then C3, C5, we already know +3 to his skill and burst. His getting +3 to his skill is like, you know, is okay, you know, whatever. The burst is gonna be nice though, getting +3 there. So let's go to C4, which is going to be when the Raging Oni King state caused by his burst ends, all nearby party members will gain 20% defense and 20% attack for 10 seconds. It's kind of a weird constellation because, again, he's the main source of damage on your team and everyone else is just there to buff him. So the 20% defense will help like Goro's burst and stuff. You know, it's like a team buff, but it doesn't affect him, so it's like not that great. And then C6 is kind of a meme, to be honest. Basically, his charge attacks will gain 70% crit damage, which straight off the bat, nice damage boost there. But additionally, you have a 50% chance to not consume a super strength stack when doing his charge attack. So in theory, if you get super lucky and win your 50-50s here, this combo could last for quite a while and do a ton of damage, making it absolutely insane on bosses. But again, it's more of a luck thing. But the 70% crit damage to your charge attacks is always, you know, that's a nice damage boost there. So that covers his constellations. Again, he is absolutely fine at C0 if you have him there. If you happen to get Constellation 2, which is probably his best one in my opinion, I don't think you need the rest. Again, C6 is kind of a meme. But finally, let's actually take Arataki Itto out on the field. Let's take a look at his normal attacks, and then we'll actually do some combat, and then we'll talk about teams. Well, you can kind of already see the team I got set up here, but anyways, Arataki Itto's sounds. Let's take a look. Normal attacks look like this. So remember, with Arataki Itto, he actually has a special mechanic where you can say you have to dodge. So you have to dodge like mid combo. You see how he continues? You're attacking, dodge, and then you finish. So he doesn't lose his combo even though you have to dodge or move around or use his skill if you're interweaving his skill with his combos. I'm sure the Arataki Itto mains have like an optimal combo for him. I'm not actually sure what it is because, again, I don't own the character, so I haven't actually played a lot of him. And then this is what his charge attack looks like without the super strength stacks. So it's very basic. It's just a slash like this. It's not even the spin that other Claymore characters do. It's just that. And that's not what you want to do. You don't want to do this. This is a waste of stamina. And then we have his skill. So if you just press E, he'll just throw it right in front of him. It does a lot of damage. Again, and remember that it taunts nearby enemies. as well as gives you those extra stacks. It does have a short duration, but it also has a short cooldown. So we're gonna take on these. We're gonna take on these samurai here, and hopefully do a decent showcase of his kit. Here, we'll use the burst now. Let me use the shield here, so we don't have to worry about damage. I'll use the burst. And then you can see the symbol on his back, right? You see how it's lighting up as we got the stacks, and then we did the charge attack combo. So that was a really fast demonstration there. But you can see, his back, the symbol on it is like, it starts glowing, and you want to see it glow 5 times, and then you do the charge attack combo, and then he'll do a really strong finisher. And that's the charge attack combo you want to do. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is the teams that you can run with Arataki Itto. Now, obviously, you're going to want as much, well, not as much Geo, but he doesn't really have a lot of team variability either. Obviously, Goro is going to be one of his best supports because Goro just increases your team's defense, and I believe he gives you Geo DMG Bonus, so perfect support there. Now, the last 2 teammates are sort of interchangeable depending on what you have or what you don't have, but other teammates that will do great are Albedo. This account doesn't have Albedo, but he's also another sub DPS Geo character. And he does generate some energy for your team. And then you could also have Zhongli, as we have here, for shields. The problem is if you do run into things like wolves, or if you're doing like the Spiral Abyss with him, you're gonna have a little bit of trouble with survival when it comes to fighting all those wolves, and then fighting the knights, and using his shield over there like gives them a buff as well. So you could use him with Bennett for the attack boost, which is always great. Now, don't forget that if you do have a C6 Bennett, you can use him with Arataki Itto because his burst converts his damage to Geo, and that's not affected, and you can't override it, so it won't be affected by Bennett's C6. So you could use him as well. You could also use Ningguang as more of a support or like a burst support. She does have her elemental skill that she can use twice if you have her at C2, and you know, her burst gives a nice little boost in damage, or nuke damage if you need it. But you could also just have her just be like just the battery for your team, since she can spam her elemental skill. Could be Geo Traveler if you have a Geo Traveler set up. Also another good off-field DPS or support character for your team for generating energy particles as well. That's kind of the thing with Arataki Itto when it comes to team building. It's not so much the character's fault, it's more of Geo's fault, the element itself. Because Geo is, I guess someone could argue this, but I really think it's the worst element in the game, and that is just because of its lack of elemental reactions, okay? Like, it just has Crystallize, and that is it. And because of that, it limits your team building. Like, you wouldn't give him Zhongling, because what are they gonna do? They're just gonna make Crystallized shards from the burst. There's no, like, damage boost going on there. But yeah, if you don't have Zhongli as a shielder, then I suppose you could use any of the 4-star ones if you have them built, like Toma, Layla, Diona. You wouldn't use Yunjin with Arataki Itto because Yunjin just buffs normal attacks. With Arataki Itto, you mainly do his charge attack. In short, and to reiterate, Arataki Itto is a very easy character to both play as and build because he doesn't really have a lot of variability. Now, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know, that depends on you. If you want a character that's basically set in stone, not really a pun there, but, you know, like, he has one good artifact set. His weapons, he does have a few choices outside of his signature weapon, but not too many. And team-wise, very set in stone, not a lot of variability. It's not like, say, like Ganyu. Like, Ganyu has her freeze team and an artifact set for her freeze team, and then she has a melt team. Totally different weapon choices, totally different teammates, and totally different artifact set. Obviously, the downsides to running a team like this is that once you start running into enemies with shields, now Geo can take on most shields, like, you know, no problem, but enemies like Abyss Lectors, or the Fire Abyss Heralds, or whatever they're called, when you get them down to their second half where they gain that shield, trying to take down that shield with the Geo team is painful. It's painfully slow. But yeah, that is pretty much a wrap for this video. Good luck to everyone that is deciding to pull for Arataki Itto instead of Scaramouche in 3.3. If you have any questions about him or about, you know, anything in related to Arataki Itto that you think I didn't cover well enough or that I completely missed, feel free to leave a comment down below. As well as for that Sumeru gadget that collects wood plus his passive. I want confirmation if that works or not. But anyways, thanks again for Edmar for letting me borrow his account so I can use Arataki Itto and look at his talents real fast to share with all of you. Subscribe if you liked the video, and thank you for watching.